This is KTVO's Good Morning Heartland.
As you know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and over the past few years, there's been a lot of debate over mammograms. Who should get one? When? Are they really necessary? Organizations such as the American Cancer Society and the Centers for Disease Control say mammograms can save lives and should be a part of every woman's health check. This morning, we have Dr. Margaret Wilson, DO and Dean of A.T. Still University's Kirksville College of Osteopathic Medicine, to talk more about breast cancer and the awareness around it. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Well, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. We both are wearing pink
We
in
are.
honor of Breast Cancer
Absolutely.
Awareness Month. So why is it so important to dedicate, I would say more than just a month, but to breast cancer awareness?
Well, I think it's just really important to highlight awareness among women so that we can prevent the disease and encourage women to seek screening and really address it, and we save lives by highlighting that awareness.
And I also have read somewhere that breast cancer is the #1 killer aside from skin cancer for women. Is that true?
Yes, that's correct. So it affects a significant amount of women. It's a devastating disease, can be if not detected early and treated. And so I think it's just really important to take the time and educate women and make them aware to think about what they need to do to maintain their health.
All right, so you just mentioned detection. What are some ways that we can help prevent this or, hopefully stop this before it does get worse? What are some things women can do?
Well, I guess number one is to talk to your doctor about screening and prevention and what they can do to stay healthy. We know there's certain risk factors for women. We know that as women age, they're more likely to develop breast cancer. We know if they have a family history, they may be at greater risk. Things like being overweight can put you at a higher risk of developing breast cancer. Lack of exercise. So, those things can be controlled. You can get healthier. You can lose weight. You can exercise more. So maybe reduce your risk by trying to address some healthy behaviors.
All right, and we just mentioned some screening and detection. What are types of tests? Obviously the mammography. When should we start getting those?
Well, there's still some controversy about that, and if you ask the experts, they have different opinion. I guess the important message is all the experts agree women should receive breast cancer screening, and mammography is the most common way of doing that. The disagreement comes as to when to start and how often. So I think, again, it may depend on your personal history, your family history, and something to talk to you about your health care provider. When should I start having breast screening and how often? Again, mammography is the most important. I think most of the colleges agree that after the age of 50, women should probably have mammography every year. Under the age of 50 is where there's a little bit of discussion on whether it should be every year, every 2 years, or how frequent.
Right, and even with that age, with it being younger, that's when also family history comes into play
Absolutely.
as well. So, I know that there's young women out there that are, under the age of 30 that are already thinking about testing and even the gene testing because they had family members or their mom or they have that gene, and and you think, oh well, I'm not old enough for that to happen, but it could happen.
Absolutely, it seems like we're seeing more younger women develop breast cancer. One thing to maybe mention about the genetic testing and the family history, family history is really important. If you have a family history of a mother, a sister, or a daughter with breast cancer, you're definitely at higher risk. But most women that get breast cancer don't have a family history.
Wow.
And often I'll have women come in and say, I'm not worried about that. I don't want to get a mammogram because I don't have anyone in my family that has breast cancer. But only about 10% of breast cancers are linked to genetics.
Wow.
So, just because you don't have a family history doesn't mean you shouldn't get screened, and I think that's an important message.
All right. So let's talk about self-checks. What can we do at home to kind of just keep up that preventative measure and testing as well?
Sure, self-breast exam is one way, and I think the most important part of that is you become familiar with your breast tissue, so if there's a change, you're much more likely to notice that and pick that up and then get to the doctor or your healthcare provider. So I think breast exam is helpful, and you just become familiar with your body, and then if something changes, you're more likely to detect that.
And I know earlier in the show, Troy had mentioned that it's it's not as common, but it is possible for men to develop breast cancer as well.
Absolutely, and he was absolutely right. It's about 1%, so it's relatively rare, but it certainly can happen. So if a man has a change in their breast tissue or notices a lump, they need to get to the doctor too.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Wilson. What we'll do is we'll post everything on our website at heartlandconnection.com, and we'll also link up some other websites and information about breast cancer and awareness as well. Thanks again for coming on.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.